Hey folks, I'm Vasel. Welcome to my next best games. These are the games that didn't make my top 100, but there's so many amazing games out there that I thought it'd be important to talk about these. So we're going to get started here. Today we're going from 220 down to 201. So here we go. Quadropolis. 220. Quadropolis is a great game. The expansion came out this summer. I don't know if it's in wide release. It's just basically some more tiles for the game. But I really enjoy the city building aspects of this, even though I know it's kind of more streamlined. But the whole grid and placing your worker and being able to take a tile on that one and then putting that tile in the same spot in your grid, I think that's a fascinating, really neat concept how that comes together. Just a great game with really high production values. Number 219 is Viceroy. Now, Viceroy is a game that when I first played it, I was so enamored with it that I considered putting it in the Dice Tower Essentials because it just was something unique. You bid for the cards, which was not that unique, but when you put the cards in your display, you put them in a pyramid sort of setting. And so you're placing cards and how you connect them, the higher they go, the different abilities they will have. At the same time, you're trying to make different groupings of gems. A really good game. I very much enjoy it, Viceroy. Number 218 is a game I really like, meaning it's in my top 250 games or so, but some people really like this one, and that's Glory to Rome. Now, I first played Glory to Rome ages ago. I said it was a great little game, and I didn't hear anything about it. Then suddenly it hit the mainstream. Everyone enjoyed it. Now it's out of print, unfortunately, but Glory to Rome is a card-playing game where you play a card, and that card can be used for various things. It can be used as a building material, it can be used as an actual building, it can be used as a worker. Really good combinations. It's a really unique, interesting game that very few other games come close to replicating. It's too bad it's just out of print. Number 217 is a game that I've loved for years and years and years, and that's No Thanks. No Thanks is a game in which the players, you have chips, and you put a chip on a card, or you take the card. You don't want to take cards, but sometimes the card has so many chips on it, you're going to take the card and hope the points aren't too bad. A little bit of push your luck in this game. Very simple and easy. Fantastic. A game that I can always bring to the table. Number 216 is a game from North Star Games. It's their game they never talk about, and that is Say Anything. Say Anything is their party game they came out with after Wits and Wagers. And in this game, players will be asked a question like, what's the worst breakfast cereal ever? And so everyone will write an answer down and put it in the middle. You know what everyone's answer is. And whoever is asked a question is going to pick one of those answers. But before they do so, everyone bets on which one they think that the answeree or the answerer, that makes more sense, is going to pick. And I just love it. It's very freeform, a lot of fun. Say Anything. Number 215 is Agricola. Now, nowadays I often talk about how much I like Caverna better than Agricola, and how Caverna has replaced Agricola for me. But even so, Agricola is a really good game. There's a reason I played it so often and loved it. Yes, Caverna has replaced it in many ways, but the whole idea of Agricola, where you have these cards and you're trying to put these cards down and form some sort of engine with the way that you're placing things on the board, it's a fascinating, unique, interesting experience, groundbreaking, and I still think it's a fascinating game, which is why it's on my list. Number 214 is Fortress America. Fortress America, that one versus all game, made in the 80s when we thought communists were going to be attacking America from every direction. You know, Wolverines type style. That's what this game feels like. I really enjoy playing the United States in it, not for thematic reasons, but because I like to be the one versus all type thing. The United States, everyone starts out on equal levels, except it's 3-on-1. But as time goes by, the American player becomes stronger and stronger. Really cool plastic miniatures, and Fantasy Flight made a nice version of this a few years ago. Number 213 is Carcassonne. Now, there's a lot of different versions of Carcassonne, but I still really enjoy base Carcassonne with its 600 kabillion expansions. There is a lot of expansions, and I really like all of them. Some of them are weird, like the Catapult, but I don't hate the Catapult. Some are fantastic, like the Tower, like the Builder, and the Abbey. There's just so many things, and this makes a great two-player game as you're putting out the tiles, and you're just watching this big city unfold before you. Just a really great experience. I highly recommend Carcassonne. Number 212 is Manila. Manila is like a betting game. Now, I don't bet. I don't go to and play the roulette tables, but Manila feels like that. You got these 3 boats running down the river, and you are going to say, I think 1 boat will make it. I think 2 are going to fail. I think this boat's going to be the first boat down the river, or whatever. And you're doing that, and then you roll some dice, and you also have ways to manipulate which boat goes down there. And then there's kind of a little stock market game on top of that. It fits together really well. Beautiful components, but I just really like the whole betting aspect of the game of Manila. Number 211 is Lords of Vegas. Lords of Vegas is a great game in which players are going into Las Vegas and they're building up different casinos. And so it has a kind of a grid tile as you're placing them out there, a little bit of a choir maybe, as you're putting out these and trying to form different casinos, trying to take over someone else's casino, sometimes just gambling in someone else's casino. With the expansion up, I think it's called, you have another layer, which I really enjoy, but also makes it really accessible for 5 to 6 players. There's just a lot going on. It feels thematic. It uses dice in a really cool, interesting way. That is Lords of Vegas. Number 210 is Defenders of the Realm. Now, this fell quite a bit. It wasn't my top 100. Last year was 112, but that's just because Defenders of the Last Stand came out, and I like that one a little better, but Defenders of the Realm is still great. It is a cooperative game in which you are defending against 4 evil fantasy armies. I think there's demons and orcs and skeletons and something else are coming in, and a dragon and just big dragonkin essentially, or whatever. And you have to fight these off and then eventually fight their big bosses. It's kind of like Pandemic, a lot like Pandemic in many ways, but with a really strong dose of this fantasy theme, and it really works well for me, Defenders of the Realm. Number 209 was in my top 100 for a really long time, and last year was 172. It's Lost Cities. Lost Cities is a great game. I don't play it as much as I used to. There's a lot of 2-player games out there these days. But man, for a while, this was King of the Roost with me and my wife as we sat there and played cards. And we just played this a few months ago and still had that whole, are you going to play the card? I'll pick up the card and play the card. And I just got a beautiful player mat for it. So I'm excited to try it out again. Really enjoy this 2-player, very tense back and forth game, Lost Cities. 208 is Dragon's Gold. This is another one that's floated in and out of my top 100 over the years because I just love the concept of this game. In Dragon's Gold, you are negotiating with other players. You're going to be killing a bunch of dragons. That's just going to happen. And then you got to split the loot between the players. And you have a time limit to split that loot. And you need to split it with no future promises, no past promises. You got to split it right here, right now. And if everyone doesn't agree, no one gets anything. Whew. Obviously, some people should not play this game, but you play it with the right people, you can have some really wicked, mean, back and forth negotiations. I like it. Telestrations is my number 207. Telestrations is a great party game. It's almost more of a party experience, right? This is Eat Poop You Cat. That's the open source version of this. But in this game, you draw a picture. Someone else writes down what they think the picture is. The next person draws a picture of what that person wrote. The next person writes down what that picture is. And it goes on. And it's just hilarious to see what unfolds. Really good production, too. Number 206 is Thebes. Thebes is a game in which a player is searching for treasure or artifacts, I guess. Not treasure, maybe. So it's like Indiana Jones without the action. But it's great because you're going in there, reaching into a bag, pulling out tiles, and saying, oh, this tile is no good. There's a lot of no good tiles, but finding good ones. You want to be the first one in because there's still a lot of good tiles in these bags. But at the same time, if you wait longer and spend more time, you'll get to pull more tiles. A really good balance back and forth, and I think the theme really comes through. There's also a Thebes card game, which is quite good. Number 205 is Witness. I really like Witness. It's another game that's, where it's a cooperative game, but you're whispering in someone else's ear. And so you each get some clues. You whisper your clues to the next person, and that person whispers a clue to you, which I then need to relate to this person. And we all need to be getting questions right. We're all working together to write down the answers that they're going to ask us, but we have to use our deduction and logic. And just a fantastic game, Witness. Number 204 is Trains. Now, Trains, for a while, this is basically Dominion with a board, and it was poised to take over Dominion. But as time goes by, I think I like the ease and the simplicity of Dominion better, but I still really like Trains. Trains, a deck building game, but you're also placing pieces on a board and making routes and connecting and trying to, connect different cities. So there's a lot of solid, cool things with it. I like the trains theme too. I wish they had more expansions for the game, but as it is, there's a lot of neat stuff for it. Trains. 203 is City of Iron. Now, I haven't played the second edition of City of Iron yet. I think it's sitting on my shelf over here. So this one, after I play that, could go higher. But Ryan Laukat just made a really great game. It was another one of those resource trading game type things. But it wasn't set in the same universe as all the rest. It's set in his own fantasy universe, which is fun. It was a bit of a deck building game, but you pick the order the cards come out, which is really fascinating. It starts slightly asymmetrical and gets even more asymmetrical as the game goes by, as you buy different cards to go into your deck. Really a fascinating game that is City of Iron. 202 is Tribune. Tribune, from the same designer as Die Macher, which I mentioned last time, is another worker placement game, but in this game you are trying to control different groups, and the concept's pretty simple. You control a group if you play more cards than another person played in that group, or a higher value. So if you play an 8 and a 9, I can play a 1, 2, 3. That 3 cards beats 2 cards. I now control the group. Later on, you play that 8 and 9 again. Now you control the group because 17 is much higher than 6. That's a good concept, and then you need to do this, and different groups give you special abilities on the board. It takes place in the Roman time period. Really great game. Scoring's a little weird. I play with the variant, which I think is better, but the expansion really helps fix all that. I really like Tribune. And the last one for today, number 201, is Police Precinct. This is another co-op game. You can tell I like them. But this one is a theme that hardly anyone uses, where you are a bunch of police officers trying to control crime in a city. And this several small block city is just horrifically riddled with crime. You're trying to solve one big murder case, but meanwhile, street thugs are coming out, and you have to, make sure that they don't get out of hand. There's someone is robbing a store, and you got to deal with that, and you're going around. It's just, there's a lot of really cool options. There's people speeding and things like that. You're doing all this stuff at the same time, trying to keep the crime from the city getting out of control. Really fun, thematic game. That's Police Precinct. And that's it. I'm done with this one. Next time, we'll get into the top 200. So we got 5 more of these lists to go, doing 20 at a time. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel, and you've been watching my next best games of all time.